Good evening to everybody. Welcome to the Family Law class. That is the Muslim law, and today that I am going to deal the maintenance. And please read what I posted on the screen.
Nafaka.
Nafaha means if you know it, you tell me. If you don't know, you say pass on.
Pass on, sir.
Maintenance. Nafaha means maintenance. Here
Maintenance.
I am sharing this. Nafaha, Arabic. Nafaha, maintenance, refers to the useful life expenses, life one's food, clothes, and accommodation, especially when another person is obliged to provide them. So that is called nafaha in Arabic. But in Muslim law terminology, that generally equivalent terminology will say the maintenance. So spelling is Nafaqa. So that is the maintenance. Now let us see what is the maintenance in Muslim law. Why the maintenance should be there? Yes, anyone? Why the maintenance should be there? If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, you say pass on. Don't waste the time. Yes?
And after marriage, the husband is liable to maintain his wife and children as per law.
Which law says?
Personal law. Personal laws.
Suppose the husband is a house husband, like a housewife, and the wife is an employee, then India and our system, our culture is a patriarchal culture where the male has the dominant power and the male is the earning member and the female will take care of the house, take care of the children, take care of the relatives, both the sides, wife's side as well as the husband's side. And the hard worker is a man, and hence a man should have to give the feeding to the woman, including the children. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, I appreciate it. So, we shall discuss the aspect of the maintenance in the Muslim law from the viewpoint of the person who are eligible for the maintenance. Let us see the who are eligible for the maintenance. Number one, wife. Number two, children, both boy and girl. Number three, parents and grandparents. Number four, any other relative who are the dependents. Now let us see the what is the maintenance for wife. Under Muslim law in India, maintenance is known as nafha. Some people write nafaha, some people write nafha. Of course, both are the right because it is Arabic. Sometimes you write Nafqah. But preferably, instead of saying nafaha, it's more better to say nafha. Nafqah. Nafqa. Nafqa is the amount that a man spends on his family. For what? For the livelihood, for the expenditure, for taking care of them, food, shelter, medicine, everything. The right to maintenance of a Muslim woman is absolute and not conditional on whether she can maintain herself or not. So it is a mandatory on the man that right to maintenance of Muslim woman is absolute. One cannot avoid it. And he cannot say that I am an unemployed. If he's unemployed, then why did he get married? Why not observe the celibacy? Why don't he keep quiet? Of course, Prophet Muhammad said it is abstinence from the marriage. It is celibacy is prohibited in the Islam. It is a zina. It is it is not the sin act. It is a sin act. That's what the Prophet Muhammad said. So the absolute right the woman will get it, even though a woman is an employee, even though the woman earns more than the man, her husband. So whether she can maintain herself or not doesn't matter. But it's the absolute right on her that she should be maintained by her husband. Hence, all the Muslim women earning or not earning. See, the word is earning or not earning are eligible for the right to maintenance. which is contrary to most of the other religious acts where only dependent women are eligible for the maintenance. For instance, you take the Hindu law. The Hindu law, if the woman is a earning member, at that instance, they say she is already a earning member and she earns more than me. Husband says and proves it. Naturally, a little amount will be given to the as a maintenance. Or sometimes they say your husband is not at all a employee and no more he is having the money. Hence, you are earning, so you could not get the maintenance from your husband. Am I right? Am I right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
But in the Hindu law, in the Muslim law, that it is different. Hindu law, it is a different. So it is the duty and liability of the husband to provide the adequate maintenance to his wife. Whose duty? Whose duty?
Husband duty.
Husband duty to provide the adequate maintenance to his wife in all the circumstances, irrespective of his financial condition. Suppose the financial condition is not there. For instance, you take the pandemic. No, he has to sell the kidney. What I said, he had to sell the kidney and make the maintenance to the children as well as the wife. However, a Muslim woman cannot claim maintenance from her husband in the following cases. But when a Muslim woman cannot claim maintenance from her husband, these the following cases are given. Number one, here says she has not attained the puberty. At the time, she cannot be. But one thing is there. Suppose in the earlier marriages, when she has not attained the puberty also, at that instance, suppose if he's staying with the parents where the prompt dowry is not paid over there, then she will be entitled for the maintenance. But let us see that she has abandoned her husband and marital duties with a sufficient reason. She has abandoned her husband and marital duties with sufficient reason. At that time, she cannot entitle for the maintenance. Number two, where she elopes with some other man. What do you know? Elopes means the girl will take care of the boy. Sometimes boy will take care of the girl. That is called abduction. If she elopes with some other man, if he goes over there, she cannot be entitled for the maintenance. Yes, Shai Rishita, welcome. So, in the third condition is in a case where she disobeys the reasonable command of her husband. Suppose we will not listen to the husband, no, she will not be entitled for the maintenance. So, elapse is different, abducted is different. Of course, kidnap is different because generally you kidnap the children for the ransom, but you abduct a girl for any other reason like the sexual satisfaction or she loves her or they want to get married, many other things. But a woman will take away the man, that is called elapse. She elapse with some other man at the time, she will not be entitled for the maintenance. So now let us see the quantum of maintenance. What the amount should be paid to the wife. The quantum of maintenance is not prescribed under any personal law, but depend upon how much the earning capacity of a husband and how many dependents are there, and is it a daily activity, a casual labor. So depending upon that factor, the court will say that okay, please give this much amount to your wife as a maintenance. The court decides the quantum on the basis of the financial condition of the husband and wife and any other circumstances relevant to the case. Whatever the circumstances relevant to the case, it depends upon. Suppose the husband having the lot of property, of course, owned by the father. He is having the houses given for the rent. They have the agriculture, a lot of income would be there. They have the poultry farm, a very good income is there. They have the business of like a mirchi or any other provision shops or wholesale rate shops are having their lorries. So depending upon the various other factor, not necessarily it is a employment. So depending upon the circumstances, how much the capacity she can be able to make it out, and that amount will be fixed by the court. The Shia law decides the quantum of maintenance by taking into the consideration the requirement of the life. But Shia law says that what is the requirement of the wife? How much does she need the money for her survival? So they will see in that way. The Shafi'i law determines the quantum of maintenance by the post of the husband. But a Shafi'i law They will see that what is the portion of the husband will be there. Depending upon that factor, they will fix the amount. Thus, the basis for the determination of the quantum of maintenance in different for a different subcaste of Muslim. Of course, here subcaste means school of thought, the schools of the Muslim. How much, whatever the Sunni law, whatever the Shia law, whatever the Malki law, whatever the Shafi'i law, they will say it. So different sects will give the criteria for a determination of the amount for maintenance for the wife. Maintenance under the anti-nuptial agreement. Anti-nuptial agreement before the engagement was made. Yes, that means the promises before the engagement are promises after the marriage. Let us see that what is the prenuptial agreements. A Muslim marriage is construed as a contract. Yes, it's obviously it's a contract. And Justice Mahmood also said that is a civil contract. So he decided in the case law also. There are an agreement that is made between the parties to the marriage, and the marriage means nikah, Nikah, which prescribe the right and duties of both the husband and wife. So when the tie of the bond would be there, then the liability and the duty and the rights would be available to each and everybody, but both the parties. If somebody's right means other person duty, the other person right means the opposite person duty. So the rights and duties of both the husband and wife. In this agreement, the wife can stipulate some conditions for the husband in case of the breach of such a condition. Suppose if you made such a breach of a condition, then the wife will make certain conditions and stipulations. She has to right to live separately and is also eligible to receive the maintenance. Suppose the wife make an agreement that before the engagement or before the marriage, if you marry a second one, then I will live separately and you have to pay the maintenance to me. Not only me, to my children also. But I don't live on the same roof. So if made such a breach would be there, marrying another girl or another woman, then that will be maintainable in the court of law. The quantum of the maintenance and the terms are to be agreed and settled at the time of the marriage itself. So at the time of the marriage or before the marriage, the quantum of the maintenance also they can fix it. In case that you leave me, you have to pay this much amount as a maintenance. The wife can stipulate the contract of the marriage in case of the husband ill-treat her or takes the second wife or keeps a concubine. Suppose if the husband will ill-treat her, make the domestic violence, at that instance, or takes a second wife, means marry a second wife, or keeps a concubine. You know concubine? Anyone? If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, you just say pass. Yes?
ఉంపుడు గత్తె అని అంటారు. ఉంపుడు గత్తె.
Yes, umpudu kattenu concubine antaru. Yes, you are right. So if you go for this one, at that instance, yes, he has to bear or condition should be stipulated. If he ill-treated or takes a second wife or keeps a concubine. So if you violate such a terms, then he has to obey the conditions. A wife can stipulate it and ask for the money or ask for the even divorce, ask for the legal separation or ask for the maintenance, not only to her children also. So now in such a case, she has the right to live separately because he has violated the condition from her husband, and she is also eligible to claim the maintenance definitely against the husband because the husband violated the point because he ill-treated her and he went for the second wife and he kept a concubine. So these are all the treatment. Then she can maintain, she can demand from the husband for the maintenance. However, it has to be noted that the husband's liability is limited only till the iddat period, and the wife can claim maintenance only during the period of iddat, not beyond that. So they said only iddat period. But after the Shabano case law, under the CRPC 125, irrespective of the religion, one can approach to the court under the CRPC 125 for the maintenance. How long? Is it only for the iddat period? Answer no. Till she dies, number one, till she remarries. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Clear, sir.
Yes. So that is the thing, one can get it. Yes, maintenance to Muslim divorced women until her remarriage. In terms of the Section 3, Clause A of the Muslim Women, within parentheses, Protection of the Rights and Divorce Act 1986, a Muslim husband is liable to make a fair provision for the future of the divorced wife. They say reasonable wife, but a real man would be there. He will give such a lump sum amount so that she could lead a comfortable life in throughout her till her death. This includes her maintenance as well. Accordingly, the husband has to make a fair and reasonable provision for the maintenance of the wife beyond the Iddat period, as per the terms of the Section 3(1) Clause A of the Act. Not only for the Iddat period, but later on, till she remarries, number one. Number two, just before I told,
Dice.
dies. I appreciate.
She,
So now, a divorced Muslim woman who has not remarried and who is not able to maintain herself after that period can claim maintenance under Section 4 of this Act from her relatives who are entitled to her property after the death. Of course, the 1986 Act they made in the Rajiv Gandhi period at the time. In case she cannot maintain herself, whatever the property she is going to get in the inheritance, from that property she will be maintained. Of course, Section 4 says, but now they say even though Section 4 says are weak or not weak, he has to supposed to pay it now till her death or till she remarries. So Section 4 of this Act from her relatives who are entitled to the property after death. Yes, the relatives who are entitled for the property after death, from that it will be paid. This has provided additional right to the Muslim woman in case if that doesn't have the money. In case no money, no property, no relatives, then Waqf board should have to pay the maintenance. That is clearly mentioned in the 1986 Act. But do you think that the Waqf board has a lot of property, but people are misusing it for the personal end. Waqf board is having lot of property in India because people will get the what I say moksha with that view that they will give the property to the Waqf board that will be utilized. The benefit will be utilized for the needy people. That's the point. So now that is about the wife is concerned. As I told you, even a wife is a government employee and husband is a private employee. If the husband left the woman until her maintenance, he is supposed to pay something depending upon her capacity to pay maintenance, even though she is a earning member. It is only in the Muslim law. Am I right? Say yes or no.
Yes, yes, sir.
I appreciate. Okay. Maintenance of the children. Can anybody will unmute and read what is the maintenance of the children that which I am highlighting it now here? At least to know whether you are with me, I am with you.
Of the maintenance of the children. Muslim father is under the obligation to maintain his legitimate child until he attains the puberty age. Under Muslim law, the father has to maintain his son only until he attains majority.
Yes.
While
When the
he
maintenance of the children are concerned. Okay, now I will take it. That much is enough because now I will give the explanation to you. So, Muslim father is under the obligation to maintain his legitimate child until he attains the puberty age. It is for the puberty age, no. For the female, it is the burden of him to see that she will be get married. For the male, only he attains the majority. Once he attains the majority, he may not be, you cannot force him to maintain the child. Let him stand on his own feet. That is the stand. For the girl, for the female daughter, till she get married. So while he has to maintain his daughter until her marriage and till the time she goes to her husband's home, yes, it is the burden of the parents and especially father. Under the law, the father is not under a duty to maintain the illegitimate child. But now, even the facet marriages, where the child is said to be the, I said, not surely, the extramarital children, but no fault of the children, they should not be made a target. They say it should be paid. The maintenance should be given. For instance, you take the Christian law, either the legitimate or illegitimate. If the child is the father of, if the child is your child and you are the father of the child, you are to supposed to maintain the child. That is the law, they say. So, but generally, in the other cases, if it is a purely illegitimate, no, there is no such a burden to that he should take the maintenance of the child. Thus, after the pursuing the above mentioned facts, it can be easily concluded that the maintenance provision of the Muslim law are different from other personal laws and are very unique. Yes. Regarding the maintenance are concerned, the personal law, that is the Muslim law, is unique. So now let us see the one of the solid example maintenance in the Muslim law. Rehana is the Rahim's wife. Rehana is the Rahim's wife and is living with him. Is she eligible to claim the maintenance from her father? Answer: since Rehana is Rahim's wife, Rahim is obliged to maintain the Rehana and not her father. Suppose if she did not get married, at the time, it is the burden of the father for the maintenance. Am I right? Am I right? Say
Yes,
yes
sir.
or no.
Yes, sir.
Now you tell me, for the girl, how much period? For the boy, how much period? Maintenance should be there on the shoulder of the husband or father. Yes.
Girl up to she attains puberty, and boy until he attains majority.
Even for the girl, not only Mubati, till she got married and sends her to the husband's house. For the boy, up to the majority, not up to the puberty. The puberty, after also, you have to see that she should be get married and sent to the husband house. That is a very important factor. So now let us see what other law says about it. Okay. See, this is all the women, they are fighting for the maintenance. Okay. So now, under the Muslim law, the maintenance, nafakha, within Perasri or nafkha. The obligation of a Muslim arises only if the claimant has no means of the property to maintain himself or herself, but not necessarily. The Muslim law say whether is earning member or not earning member, he has to pay it. Under the Muslim law, the following persons are entitled. That I told you, the wife and children, and this we already read it. Is it not? Is it not? Just we know only read it now. This is
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
no. This is a different. There we did not read the maintenance of the under criminal procedure code. See, here we did not read under the criminal procedure code. There is no criminal procedure code. But four people are there. The four people are there. Wife, children, both by boy and a girl, and parents and grandparents, any other relatives. But there is no criminal procedure act is there. That means it is a different thing. So now, wife, as you said, yes, young children, definitely. The necessary parents or grandparents, and other necessary relations within the prohibited degrees. Yes, even the prohibited degree also they will be entitled to it because they are the dependents. No fault of them. You should not make them target. So maintenance to the Muslim wife, I told you that not only up to the iddat period, but also up to the
Until she dies, and or uh, she remarries.
yes, that is the two conditions. So the same thing there. If the consummation is not possible due to the wife's own ill health, the old age or faulty organ, she is not guilty of the transgressing her matrimonial obligation toward the husband and may lawfully claim the maintenance from the husband. Yes, some of the difficulty would be there for the woman not to consummate with it, but still she will be entitled for the maintenance. The wife could also claim the future maintenance on account of the prenuptial agreement, even future maintenance, sustainable maintenance in the event if he ill treatment. If any ill treatment will be given over there, then in the beginning only she will make such a condition that she is going to give the divorce or live separately, or you have to maintain her as well as to the children. Areas of the maintenance cannot be claimed by any relatives other than the wife. Suppose the areas are there for the maintenance, it cannot be claimed by any other person. Only the woman, that is the wife, can claim it. The rights of the wife to maintain his exist in spite of the fact that she can maintain herself out of her own property. Even out of her own estate, she can maintain herself, but still the burden lies on the husband to maintain the to maintain the to maintain
Wife.
the
Wife.
wife. You are
Wife.
not take that much time. You have to say very immediately. Now let us see the maintenance of wife under the Criminal Procedure Code 1973. Just before that, I made it very clear. Which section says about it? Which section says about it?
125.
I appreciate. You have to give the immediate answer. Okay. But still you have given, because late is better than never. So the refusal of the wife to perform the matrimonial obligation toward the husband or a claim for the maintenance to be examined not only the Muslim personal law but also under the Criminal Procedure Code. So the claim of the wife for the maintenance under this act is an independent statutory right, not affected by her personal laws. It is the independent right. CRPC 125. It is nowhere contravened or nowhere we can force her to go to the personal law because it is her choice. So a Muslim wife who lives separately due to her husband's second marriage is entitled to claim the maintenance allowance under the provision of the Criminal Procedure Code 1973. Now let us see the one of the case law. Can you read the name of the case law? Anyone can unmute and read. The whole
Begum
paragraph.
Subhanu alias Saira Banu versus A.M. Abdul Ghaffur. The Supreme Court held that irrespective of a Muslim husband's right to contract a second marriage, his first wife would be entitled to claim maintenance. A Muslim wife whose husband neglects to maintain her without any lawful justification is entitled to file a suit for maintenance in a civil court under her personal law. She is also entitled to enforce a right under the CRPC 1973. Where a Muslim wife is in urgent need, she may apply for an order of maintenance under Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code 1973. A magistrate of the first class may then order the husband to provide monthly allowance not exceeding 500 rupees for the maintenance of his wife.
So here you cannot force the Muslim woman to go to the personal law and get the relief. No. If she wants, she can tap the Criminal Procedure Code 1973, that is the section 125 for the maintenance. But they said that the 500 is the old at the time, but now it is the discretion of the court to see the lifestyle of the woman and how much the husband is earning and what is the position of the woman. They will see it and they will allot it. This much amount will be paid to her. But up to what extent? Till her death, till she get remarried. Up to that extent that the amount will be paid. But here they say 500 is the old figure, and I believe that nobody would get anything in the 500. So naturally, the amount, the quantity of the amount would be the discretion of the court to decide how much she would be given that for the maintenance. So maintenance of the divorced women, it can be discussed on the following heads. Muslim personal law, yes, one can go for that one. But in the Muslim personal law, it says only up to the iddat period. But after that, they say no. That's why the people try to tap the 125. So section 120 of the Criminal Procedure Code 1973, yes, it is one of the, to get the relief. The Muslim Personal Protection Rights and Divorce Act 1986 also says about it. Because number one, up to the iddat period, we have to pay it according to the 1986. In case the husband will not be incapable of it, then the relatives who are going to get the estate should have to pay it. In case even they are also not going to get it, at last, who has to pay the maintenance? According to 1986,
Waft. Waft.
Waqf
Waft board.
board. It is a Waqf board should have to pay the maintenance. So Muslim personal law says a divorced wife can claim the maintenance from her former husband only for that period during which she is observing her iddat, according to the personal law. The duration on divorce is how many months? 3 menstrual cycles, periods. If pregnant would be there till the delivery of the boy. If the former husband liability extend only up to the period of the death and not beyond that. So if it is a personal law. What about the section 125? 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code, that is the 1973, clearly mentioned that the term wife includes a divorced wife. The term wife includes divorced wife. Section 125 is applicable also to the divorced Muslim wife. Section 127, subsection 3 provides that the order of the maintenance in favor of the divorced wife shall be cancelled and such woman shall not be entitled to maintenance under the following circumstances. When, number one, where the divorced woman has remarried. I told you already that. In case she is remarried, then she is forego to get the maintenance. Number one. Number two, where such a woman has received the whole sum due to her on divorce under any customary or personal law. Suppose a lump sum amount is given over there where he will be kept quiet and you will put it in writing also that she is not going to claim it. At that instance also, in the presence of the witnesses, if you could do so, yes, that also, even they cannot ask for the maintenance later because lump sum is given to her. And the last point is where the woman, after obtaining the divorce from her husband, has voluntarily surrendered the right to maintenance. Yes, if she voluntarily gives back to the maintenance, okay, I don't need it because this is a meager amount because now I'm capable of earning the more, so better be happy with this money. So relinquish it voluntarily. At the time also she will not claim it. Of course, I already told you that once she died, where the children will claim the maintenance. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is not a dower. When she died, the children
No.
asked for their maintenance, not her maintenance. Is it clear? Now her maintenance is zero now because she is no more. Okay, the children can ask for the maintenance for them because mother is getting total 5,000 rupees, 1,000 to the mother and 4,000 to the 4 children. At that instance, if mother is died over there, then 4,000 should be paid to the children for their care. Is it okay? Is it clear? Do you want any doubt?
Clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Now let us see the maintenance under the Muslim Women Protection Rights Divorce Act of 1986, which I read just before. Maintenance during the iddat period, one should have to supposed to make it out. That is a must and obligatory on the husband. And the maintenance after the iddat period, okay, relatives, those who are going to get the estate in the inheritance, they have to pay it. Suppose in case they are not going to pay it, then the last, if the work board will come to the picture. The Muslim Women, within parentheses, Protection of the Rights and Divorce Act, 1986 has now made the operation of the section 125 to 120 of the Criminal Procedure Code optional in respect to the Muslim women. It is optional given to it, whether they can tap the 125 to 128 or they can go to the personal law. No woman can go to the personal law because the iddat period only it will be paid. In case it is not paid over there, then the relative who are going to get the estate in the form of inheritance will pay. In case they are also fail to get it, make it out, then the work board would be there. Instead of tomorrow chicken, and today egg is better. So they will try to tap the immediate relief, that is section 125 to 128, the maintenance must because till the death or till the divorce. Till that she remarries. Okay, the Daniel Latif and others Union of India, they challenged it. The 1986, it is unconstitutional or some other thing. But it is very much cleared under it. Yes, the Muslim women in 1980s were clubbed together with the PAL under Article 32 of the Constitution. The writ petition was dismissed by the Supreme Court challenging the validity of the Muslim Women's Act 1986. The court upheld the validity of the act. If the court say, yes, in that period one should have to pay, definitely. Next, after the iddat period is over, then who will come to the rescue means only the relatives who are going to get the estate after in inheritance. They are supposed to pay the maintenance. In case if they defaulted to pay, at the last resort, the Waqf board should have to pay the maintenance to the wife. So that was the thing. Hence, it is not unconstitutional. The validity is there. So Daniel Latif case law, the Supreme Court decided that they upheld the validity of the Act of 1986. Let us see that in Yusuf versus Sauramma. Just read that thing. Anyone can unmute and read. Yusuf versus Sauramma.
It was held by the court that whatever the cause may be, the wife is entitled to decree for the dissolution of her marriage. The husband fails to maintain her for a period of 2 years. Even though the wife may have contributed towards the failure of the maintenance by her husband.
See, the point is, if the husband will not pay the amount for your survival, consecutive period of the 2 years, then it will be a good ground according to the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act of 1939. She applied for the divorce because he could not give the feeding to her. So that is a good ground for her, which is made it very clear in the Yusuf versus Sauramma. The court, whatever the cause may be, the wife is entitled, whatever the cause may be, the wife is entitled for the decree of the dissolution of her marriage if the husband fails to maintain her for a period of 2 years. Sir, he is an employee and he is hard to hand to mouth life he is. No. I told you, no, sell the kidney and maintain the wife. If the children are there, okay, children also. So even though the wife may have contributed towards the failure of the maintenance, of course the wife is earning over there, but he failed to contribute for the maintenance of her husband. In that instance also, there is a good ground for her to go for the dissolution of marriage, because in the Muslim law, even though she is having the earning capacity, but she will still be entitled to get the maintenance from her husband. That is the law which clearly says about it. Yes. So this is regarding the today's maintenance is concerned. So now you have learnt it. One cannot avoid it by not paying the maintenance to the divorced wife. And we have in the maintenance, principle of maintenance, persons entitled to the maintenance. As I told you, who are the person who are entitled for the maintenance? Yes.
Wife, children, parents, grandparents, any other relative.
Appreciate. These are the people, those who are entitled for the maintenance. Even though they are the earning members, the wife is, but still she is having a right to get the maintenance from her husband. Okay, once she died and no children are there, at that instance, the right to claim dies with herself only. There is one maxim is there. I don't know whether you could remember or not. The personal action dies with the person. The personal action dies with the person. There is a maxim. Can anyone tell me what is that maxim? Yes, anyone? If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, what
Pass
do you
on,
say?
sir.
You say pass on. Sir, we don't want to say pass on, sir. We are checking the smartphones, sir, now. What do you check it? You have to type whole things and then you write what is the terminology in Latin. But did you do it? Sir, no, sir, we are listening your online lectures, sir. At the time, we cannot operate the both. Because when you operate the both, it is nothing but riding on the two horses. Actio personalis maritam cum persona. See, here I will show you so that you could know what I said. Actio personalis, spelling ACTO, actio personalis maritam or maritar persona. Let us see. See, this is the maxim which I am highlighted, or which I am going to make it. Yeah, it is still reading. Oh, it is. I believe it is a week. The signals are weak. That's why it's taking a lot of time to open the file. Still, it is buffering. అది ఏం తిరుగుతా అంటే ఏమనాలంటే దాన్ని
Loading, loading,
ఆ?
loading, sir, loading.
లోడింగ్ అనాలండి దాన్ని బఫరింగ్ అంటారు. Of course, loading is the process, but now it is buffering. It is buffering. Here it says actio personalis maritum, mariter, M-O-R-I-T-U-R, mariter, cum persona. That means a personal right of action dies with the person. A personal right of action dies with the person. This is the maxim. So I will put it in the white file so that you could know it. What I put is right or wrong. Yes. So this is the thing. What is the thing? Yeah. Actio personalis mariter cum persona, i.e. exempli gratia, id est. That is, id est, a personal right of action dies with the person is its equivalent English meaning. Yeah, so now we are dealing about this thing, and the tomorrow class that we will see effect of conversion and maintenance and the difference between the Shia and Sunni law. Suppose that the conversion are there, and how, whether what is the effect or impact on the maintenance. If a woman or a spouse converted or embraced or what I say renunciated, at that instance, what will be the impact? Number one, and the differences between the Shia and Sunni law in case of the maintenance. This we will see in the tomorrow class, most probably the same timings, and unless until I say there is no class, presumption is that there is a class. Yes, with this, I would like to say thank you very much for your patience listening, and I would like to show you the thanks. Yes, I made it, but I did not open it, please, I believe. Oh, this is not because I taken away. So with this one, I would like to say bye and see you tomorrow class. With this, I will end my meeting. So end of the meeting, end meeting for all.